To get started, you're going to need a piece of 11 by 15 paper. You could use a smaller piece, but with the size of the mane, I think you're going to run out of room. We're going to use the paper in a vertical position. Here's the top. I have 3 sizes of Sharpies. I usually like to draw with pencil, but today I'm going to go ahead and go straight to the Sharpie. But you can draw with pencil so you can make changes as you go and then trace over with Sharpie later. Here's the large Sharpie for thicker lines. And then this one's my favorite. The one I use most is a medium fine tip. And then for detail work, I like to bring in the really tiny tipped Sharpie. So for my drawing, I'm going to actually go with my favorite one. And like I mentioned, the nose actually needs to be probably about halfway down your paper. And as I showed you in the picture, the number 11 here for the nose actually angles out. So if you want to give your students 4 dots for that, I'll go ahead, or the students can do it themselves. See how it gets wider, like a piece of pizza at the bottom? So I have 4 dots there. Go ahead and connect those together with a straight line. And again, I would suggest using pencil in case something goes a little crazy on you and you want to erase it out. Okay, we're going to connect those together with 2 arches. Looks like the top of a heart. You could give yourself a little dot right in the middle, arch from one end, center, arch from the other side to center. There's your heart, top. For the rest of the nose, you can see in this picture, it comes together just like a heart. So I'm going to give myself a dot. As you can see in my picture, this side of my dot, or this side of my heart, angles in more than the other side. So just to be sure that I'm as even with my heart center as possible, I'm going to put a dot. I'm going to curve around and connect to that dot. Curve around, connect to that dot. It's very tempting to just make this straight. Try to get that curve in there. At the bottom of your heart, give it a small line. This is the line that's between the bottom of your nose to the top of your lip. You'll see 2 of them there. To give the nose a more 3D look, let's copycat the top of the heart. Bump, bump, and we'll draw little slanted lines to give it a shadowed look. On the sides of the nose, start at the top, connect, and we'll copycat it as we get down to the bottom of that line. Go ahead and tuck in. Here's the top, go down and tuck in. Again, let's give that some slants to give it a shadowed look. It's really easy to get out of the lines there, as you can see. Now, if we're going to make our way up to the eyes, notice here that we have a section, almost looks like a teardrop. So we'll create that first, then the eyelids. The eyelids go up first and then they angle and curve outward. So let's just start with one piece at a time to keep it simple. Let's draw this part that looks like the teardrops. So at the top of the nose, curve out or angle out and up. It's pretty small compared to the nose line. Go ahead and copycat that. We're going to do a lot of copycatting. It gives us an opportunity to fill in with color. So like I mentioned before, when we make the eyes, we're going to go up first, arch out. We'll come back down, kind of like a roller coaster. So we'll go up first, arch over, and flip out like a roller coaster. It's very hard to get those exactly the same. When if you're right-handed, this side's easier. If you're left-handed, this side will be easier. They're almost always different. Now we want to copycat that roller coaster line for the top eyelid. And then for the eyeballs, they're actually the iris, which is the color of the eye, and the pupil, the black part, are actually hanging down from the eyelid. You don't usually see the entire circle of the eye. So we're going to drop down with the pupil, and then we're going to arch, curve around it for the color. The pupil kind of has a point to it. Then the next step would be the bottom eyelid, and it curves like a smiley face. 1, 2 times, 1, 2 times, and again, as you can see, it's natural for those to look different because you're drawing different directions. The lion looks like it has maybe some eyeliner on. Another reason this is good to make right here is because it widens out the face. As you can see, the top of the head has a light bulb shape, then it slants into the cheeks. So we want to go ahead and add these decorative lines to help us widen out the face. So at the end of the eyelids, we're going to angle out and up, tuck back in, out and up, tuck back in. So we want to create this light bulb shape from the end of each of those lines. And as you can see, I'm still using up a lot of the top of my paper, so it wouldn't have been a bad idea for me to come down even further. So I'm going to arch up, over, and come back down. Now it might not have been a bad idea for me to draw the flat first at the top and then curve into the sides, because you can see how the top of my head got a little thicker right here, and since I'm using Sharpie, I'm not able to make that correction. The ears, instead of sitting on the very top or the very sides, are actually going to be, if this were a clock, maybe 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Curve out, and it has a little flip, tuck back in. Curve up and out, come in and back down. The little hairs that poke out of the outside of the ear will be created with, it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down till you touch the head. You can see I just made it on this outside edge. You could copycat that side of the ear as well. Gives you an opportunity to put a different color for the hair. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So those are the ears. Let's go back and make our way down to the cheeks and the mouth. So here we have that heart. We've created that little line coming down. It's going to slide out each direction, and you want that to end where it's about even with the pupil, the eye. So here's the pupil, about in here. It doesn't have to be exact, but I'm going to start my Sharpie here under the heart, slide, slide. And if these angles were on a clock, what hand would this be? What number would this be pointing to? I would say an 8. Over here, I would say a 4. So think about that. It's really easy to make the angle too angled, and it's pointing to 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Make sure you flatten them a little in this situation. Okay, we are going to drop down on each end and give a small, narrow, what looks like a chin. The cat just walked by, so that was the shadow there, and her tail's in. I think she's going to come inside the... Okay, so the cheeks at the end of the mouth. At the end of the mouth, they slide out and upward, and they're going to come up. I'm about halfway to the middle of that, the heart. Okay, so we don't want these to be too angular. They're actually very organic and curved, so we want to curve this and touch the side of the nose. Curve it and touch the side of the nose. And you can see where I touched is along that shadowed area on the side of our first lines that we made.